On the 10th of May 1940, the German army launched its offensive against the west. The German armoured divisions, or Panzerdivisionen, for the first time came up against real tank opposition. The Battle of Anu would be the first proper tank battle of the Second World War. The German army with its modern Panzers came up against the French in their older looking and outdated tanks. The French had high caliber guns and thick armour, while the Germans had radios and good mobility. On the 16th of May, the French would fight back at the small village of Stonne. Stonne is a small French hamlet south of Sedan. It stands upon a ridge which proved to be of vital military importance. During the bitter fighting of May 1940, the village changed hands 17 times. The battle for Stonne lasted from the 15th until the 17th of May 1940 and was later called the Verdun of World War II by the French. A German officer compared the fighting at Stonne with Monte Cassino and even Stalingrad. Early in the morning of the 16th of May, the French started to bombard the small village with artillery. Stonne was at that time defended by the 1st Battalion of Infantry Regiment 69. A column of the 1st Compagnie of Panzerregiment 8 was also in the village. They were ready to attack the French troops down the hill. The column consisted of 11 Panzer IIIs armed with a 37mm gun, and 2 Panzer IVs with a 75mm howitzer gun. At 7 AM, after the artillery barrage, the French launched their attack. They attacked from the south with Hotchkiss H-39s from the 1st and 2nd Companies of the 45th Bataillon de Chars de Combat, or BCC. Both companies of tanks would attack together with the 10th and 11th Companies of the 51st Infantry Regiment. 2 companies of Char B1s from the 41st Bataillon de Chars de Combat would attack from the west. Capitaine Billotte's 1st Company was on the left, and Capitaine Delpierre's 3rd Company was on the right flank. The Char B1, or Tank B1, was a 31.5-ton tank with 2 cannons, a hull-mounted 75mm and a 47mm in the turret. Its armour was up to 60mm thick. The Char B1 proved to be a very tough nut to crack for the Germans. Early in the battle, an extraordinary action would take place which would guide the French to securing the town. 34-year-old Capitaine Billotte in Char B1 337, nicknamed Heure, entered the village from the west just opposite the church. As soon as he entered the village, he saw the column of German tanks lined up along the main road. The first part of the column consisted of 7 German Panzers. Billotte didn't hesitate for a moment and opened fire on the German tanks. Sergeant Duru fired the 75mm cannon at the rear Panzer III, knocking it out. At the same time, Captain Pierre Billotte fired the 47mm cannon in the turret at a leading tank, which he also knocked out. This was a common tactic used by many tankers and tank commanders during the war. With both the lead and rear tanks knocked out, the remaining 5 tanks in the column were trapped. The Germans opened fire with their 37mm cannons, but the armour of the Char B1 was just too thick for the German cannons to penetrate. In quick succession, the 34-year-old company commander knocked out the 7 German Panzers. Billotte, with his 6 other Char B1s behind him, rolled further, knocking out an 8th tank until they bumped upon a second column of German Panzer IIIs. A further 5 Panzers were knocked out. Eventually, 11 Panzer IIIs and 2 Panzer IVs were destroyed in only a few minutes. Billotte ordered his driver to proceed, and his tank rolled past the destroyed columns of tanks and drove towards the Pain de Sucre bend, where a 37mm pack anti-tank gun was waiting. The anti-tank gun was no match for Billotte's well-armoured Char B1, and it was immediately knocked out of action. A little bit further downhill, another puck gun had been set up, but it was also quickly eliminated by Billotte's fire. After his wild ride knocking out 13 German Panzers and 2 AT guns, Billotte decided to turn back towards the village and help the others mop up the town. His duty was done. Partially thanks to him, Stonne was once more in French hands. Of the 6 other Char B1s of Billotte's company, 2 had broken down, 1 was stuck in a ditch, and yet another one was missing. After the battle, a total of 140 hits were counted on the Char B1 Heure, but not a single round had penetrated the armour. The Char B1 was a very tough opponent for the German army, as it had high caliber guns and thick armor. Moreover, it was in a perfect position at Stonne. Because the German panzers were stuck in the main street, they couldn't maneuver around the Char B1. Pierre Billotte came out of the battle as a tank ace and a hero of France.